It was supposed to be a picturesque holiday in Aspen Falls. But for the Miller family, the festive silence of December 22nd was shattered by a single, measured knock. What followed was a night of calculated horror orchestrated by a high-level operative who thought he was a ghost. Welcome to Latent True Crime. Subscribe now to this channel to join the investigation. Two sisters. 3 days before Christmas. A time of joy, laughter, and family warmth. But for one family, a simple knock at the door would shatter that peace, transforming a holiday retreat into a scene of unimaginable horror. Tonight, we delve into the chilling truth behind the Christmas Knock Massacre, hearing from the brave survivors who faced pure evil and lived to tell their story. It was December 22nd. The crisp winter air of Aspen Falls was usually a balm for the soul, a perfect escape for families seeking a picturesque holiday. The Miller family, John and Sarah, along with their daughters, 22-year-old Emily and 19-year-old Chloe, had looked forward to this annual tradition for months. Their quaint rental cabin, nestled amongst snow-laden pines, promised a sanctuary of festive cheer. Emily, a 35-year-old journalist with piercing blue eyes and dark hair in a messy bun, was sketching by the fireplace, while Chloe, 19, in her festive green reindeer sweater, was busy wrapping joke gifts. They had no idea that in just a few short hours, their sanctuary would become a hunting ground. The aroma of roasting turkey filled the air and Christmas carols played softly. Then, at precisely 8:47 p.m., a sound broke through the festive bubble. Not a frantic pounding, not a playful rap, just a single, measured knock. Polite, almost. Too polite for the terror it would unleash. John Miller rose from the table, calling out a light-hearted, "Expecting anyone?" No one was. As he reached the door and the lock disengaged, a sudden, violent crash echoed through the house. Standing in the frame was a nightmare in human form, a 45-year-old operative with a military buzz cut and cold, slate-gray eyes, wearing a sharp, tailored charcoal suit. Chloe Miller remembers the exact moment the festive warmth evaporated. She saw the figure standing there with something glinting in his hand, not a gun, but something sharp. Her mother's scream was a sound of pure terror, and Emily simply froze. The assailant moved with a horrifying, premeditated precision. While Chloe was paralyzed by shock, Emily's journalist instincts kicked into survival mode. She grabbed Chloe's arm and they ran for the back stairs. She could hear him behind them, not running, but walking, knowing they had nowhere to go. The lead detective, a 54-year-old man with a weary, cynical face and a wrinkled tan trench coat, had seen 20 years of darkness, but the Miller cabin was different. It was too clean. There was no DNA left behind. The case had zero leads until investigators turned to Latent's. The attacker wore gloves, but under the intense heat of the cabin's fireplace, the material of a cheap tactical glove had slightly degraded, leaving a microscopic transfer on the brass handle of a fire poker. The forensic analyst, a 32-year-old man with thick-rimmed glasses and a frantic, focused expression, was the one to find the needle in the haystack. Using a new algorithmic stacking method, he reconstructed the hand shape from the glove weave. They were looking for a specific injury, a congenital deformity known as a split thumb. A veteran hacker bypassed restricted archives to find contractors with that specific trait. The trail led to a high-level private security contractor who had stayed at the same resort the previous year. The detective and his team caught him 3 miles from the cabin, sitting in his car and watching the emergency lights in the distance. In his pocket, he carried a souvenir, Emily's artist's charcoal pencil. The Miller sisters survived because they refused to be victims. They fought, they ran, and they remembered. This story was solved by the tiny details the killer thought he'd erased. Do you think the Miller sisters did enough to save their family? Let's have your thought in the comments section. Subscribe now to this channel for more deep dive into forensic mysteries if you found this story intriguing. Stay sharp. Stay safe. And always look closer. And thanks for watching.